The treaty went down badly with the German people, who felt humiliated. Germans had taken pride in their powerful army. Now they felt robbed of their sense of greatness. This German cartoon from the 1920s complains how unfair it was that only Germany had been forced to disarm. At the end of the war, the Germans had expected to be able to negotiate the peace. Instead, they were forced to sign the treaty, as if they'd surrendered. Many Germans did not accept that they alone had caused the war. Even so, Germany was made to pay enormous reparations, which weakened the German economy and would have serious consequences for the Weimar Republic in the early 1920s. Redrawing the map meant many Germans found themselves living in Poland and Czechoslovakia, being ruled, as they saw it, by foreigners. It created thousands of refugees. This contradicted Wilson's 14 points. Many Germans felt they were being denied the self-determination Wilson was offering other nationalities. German anger and resentment, not enough to cause a war on its own perhaps, but not a good recipe for a lasting peace. Fritz Thyssen made his fortune in his steelworks in the Ruhr. In his retirement in the south of France, he wrote about how he thought the German people had reacted.
The signature of a humiliating treaty condemned a whole nation to a sort of economic slavery, rendered insulting by a confession of guilt, and gave rise to the violent nationalistic reaction, which soon gathered momentum throughout Germany.
And even though Britain, France and the USA had put together the Treaty of Versailles, neither they nor their voters were satisfied with the outcome.
There is a growing feeling in the Senate that the whole treaty should be thrown out of the window.
US politicians listened to this kind of speech, and the Senate refused to ratify the treaty. As for the French, Clemenceau himself felt the treaty was too lenient. The French voters seemed to agree, and Clemenceau was voted out of office in 1920. One member of the British delegation at Versailles later wrote,
"We arrived, determined that a peace of justice and wisdom should be made. We left, knowing that the treaties were neither just nor wise."
This cartoon appeared in Britain in 1919. The peacemakers are passing a pillar at Versailles. Behind it is a child who'll be of an age to fight in 1940. The child is crying. Even in 1919, therefore, there were people who believed the peace would only last a generation.